Sir, I present Sri Robin Raina, who has been selected for the Distinguished Alumni Award.
Sir, I present Mr. Robin Raina. Before reading the citation of Mr. Robin Raina, let us pause to acknowledge the profound significance of his presence today at our 37th convocation. Despite the recent loss of his beloved father 2 days back, Robin's unwavering commitment to joining us for this convocation speaks volumes about his steadfast determination and dedication to his alma mater. So, Mr. Raina, we all acknowledge your presence with deep respect and admiration. Shri Robin Raina graduated with honors in industrial engineering from Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology in 1990. He commenced his professional journey as a management trainee at Pertec Computers Limited through the Institute's placement program. Demonstrating exceptional competence, he swiftly climbed the ranks within PCL, eventually assuming the role of National Head of Sales for its Dell joint venture by 1993. Following a successful tenure in India, Robin's career trajectory led him to Singapore in 1994, where he spearheaded PCL's software sales operations for the ASEAN region. Subsequently, he was transferred to the United States in early 1996, undertaking the responsibility of Vice President Sales, as well as overseeing PCL's software sales operation in the southeastern United States. In 1997, he transitioned to Delphi Information Systems in Chicago, initially serving as Vice President of Professional Services. His proficiency and strategic acumen propelled him to assume the role of President and CEO by September 1999. During his leadership, he transformed the struggling company, rebranding it as Ibex Incorporation. Under his stewardship, Ibex flourished, achieving significant global expansion and profitability with a workforce of over 13,000 employees across 75 countries. Robin's commitment to philanthropy is equally remarkable. In 2003, he founded the Robin Raina Foundation, dedicated to providing housing for the homeless and education for underprivileged children in India. Noteworthy initiatives under the foundation include the construction of over 2,304 homes for the slum dwellers in Delhi, educational sponsorships, and the establishment of various educational and empowerment centers across different regions in India. Some key achievements in the social sector attributable to Shri Robin Raina are as follows. Initiating the transformation of India's second largest slum, Bhavana in Delhi, into a slum-free city through the construction of 6,000 homes. Pioneering India's first shopping stores for the poor through the Yogdan initiative in partnership with Seva Bharati. Spearheading educational programs for underprivileged children, funding their education and empowering them to pursue higher education and professional careers. Establishing self-help groups and technical and empowerment centers for underprivileged women and children in various locations in India. Robin Raina's contributions have garnered international recognition with accolades from prestigious institutions such as Fortune, Forbes, and the House of Commons. He has rung the Nasdaq bell thrice at the New York-based stock exchange. Additionally, he has received numerous awards for his charitable work and has been featured in various prominent media outlets worldwide, including BBC World, Fox, CNN, CNBC, and many others. The Senate of Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology honors Shri Robin Raina with the Distinguished Alumni Award, acknowledging his outstanding contributions and recognizing him as a source of inspiration and guidance for the community. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to first of all thank Shrimati Meeta ji, Mr. Badera, Professor Nair, established the alumni group, all of you assembled here, my professors, one of my key professors, I see him in the audience here. I'm honored. I'm so honored to have you in the audience. I studied under you, so it's a privilege to just see you sitting out there. As I stand here today and look at all of you assembled here, I can recall my days at Thapar as if they happened yesterday. When I was listening to the prayer, Jayati, Jayati, Jaya He, I virtually had tears in my eyes. Everything came gushing back to me. I studied in industrial engineering, passed out in 1990, it was a cooperative program, so I spent 5 years here. And I have those memories of 5 years of 24/7 being here, just, you know, doing everything that Mr. Tarun Kapoor said, except I probably skipped the studies part, the school part. No, I'm kidding. I think it was an awesome experience of being here. What I learned here has truly made me who I am today in terms of my ability to deal with stress, my abilities to deal with man management, or to be humble, or to be rational, or to be analytical in my thinking. I was the chief student coordinator in 1988 for Saturnalia and won the Thapar Color for organization in 1989. What I learned while organizing Saturnalia, I believe, set the foundation of my entrepreneurial abilities that I have fed off for the last 3 decades. For me, Saturnalia was a transformational event in terms of confidence building. It was equivalent to setting up a startup with no seed capital and then raising funds to give it shape. And then setting up the structure to empower and manage it. It involved a fair balance of politics, political humility, balance, teamwork, and leadership abilities. I got elected unopposed in 1988, And you know what? That experience of getting elected unopposed through managing the student bodies, working with disparate genders, disparate folks, was an experience by itself. It was a learning that I had, which stayed with me through the years as I built my career. In those days in 1988, it took 18 months of planning to take Saturnalia from inception to D-Day. Those were difficult times, especially in Punjab, in the aftermath of Blue Star. And so holding a festival wasn't considered the right thing to do. But we somehow managed. And I felt, by the time we had organized the festival, I felt I was just ready for any challenge in my life. I felt I was already an entrepreneur. I hadn't even passed out. I was in the fourth year of my engineering when I became the CSC, and I felt I'm already an entrepreneur. I can do anything in my career simply because of how the process is set up. All of you are very familiar with Saturnalia. For those of you who have had the opportunity to be involved with Saturnalia, you're blessed. And I promise you that will be an important foundation stone for the work life ahead of you and will hold you in very good standing. As you pass out of this amazing institution today, you're all geared up to try and succeed fast in your life. Each one of you still has doubts, and yet the intrinsic desire to succeed at all costs as you embark on a life ahead. But then, how do you succeed? And what does success truly mean? Let me try and talk about success from my perspective by drawing on some stories from my own life and how my perspective and how my definition of success has evolved over the years. Let me first of all say something. I'm going to suggest, if you want to succeed, hunger is your biggest weapon. I'll repeat, hunger is your biggest weapon. Till the time you're hungry, you will have the desire to achieve whatever ambitions or goals you have set in front of you. The day you feel your stomach is full, the day you feel you've arrived, I'm already there, I'm a big guy, I'm a big shot, I really don't need anybody now, I've arrived, you're dead, you're done, you're ready to fall. So from my perspective, it is important to be hungry. I recently met Sadhguruji, and Sadhguruji told me, and I'll repeat what he told me. He said, Robin, I hope you die an unsuccessful man. And he explained, he said, what I truly mean is your biggest strength is your hunger, your ability to continue to evolve, your ability to continue to strive for the next best thing, whatever it is, in whichever field. It's not about material thing. If you're contributing to your country, then you need to be hungry to do that. If you want to change the lives of the underprivileged, then you need to be hungry to do that. It needs to be whatever. If you want to pass on love to the underprivileged, then you need to be hungry to pass that love genuinely, sincerely, from the core of your heart. And what he told me stayed with me. I couldn't have had a better learning from Sadhguruji. Let me tell you, life is all about perspectives. We get to define our own goals, objectives, and ambitions. So let me present the other side of success. What should success truly mean, at least from my perspective? And in my belief system, it is important to have ambition, but it is extremely important to have controlled ambition. Being over-ambitious can be your biggest enemy. You need to have controlled ambition in life. Success cannot be defined by how much money you have made in millions or billions, but success is in terms of how happy you are in this small real estate that sits in your head. If you are happy here, nobody can beat you in your life. You will be the most successful person in life in your own mind. You need to be successful in your own mind. Don't worry about how people perceive you, whether you're successful or not. If you feel you're happy, and you could be living in a 2-room apartment, believe me, in my mind, in my viewpoint, you are successful. It's extremely important, especially in this day and age, when we live in acute stress, and we deal with, at every age group, people are dying young, people are dealing with so much of stress. It is extremely important to be happy and make an effort to be happy. It all lies within you. And to me, you're all engineers, so I'm going to give you my definition. Success is directly proportional to the amount of happiness you have in here. Now, I must say, since I said all of your engineers, you all know the law of physics. When something goes up, you throw something up, what's going to happen next? It's going to come down. So don't take success for granted. The magical thing about success is, when you're going up, people are going to perceive you as successful. But remember, you're going to come down. It doesn't matter whether you're a Devanand or whether you're a Rajesh Khanna or you're anybody. You are going to come down. This is the law of physics. But the important part is, when you're coming down, some people might perceive you to be unsuccessful. They might say, this gentleman so-and-so was successful, now he or she is coming down, you're unsuccessful. Let me tell you, that's not necessarily true. What if, when you are coming down, what if you're happy in here? What if, in your own mind, you are still keeping your calm, your peace of mind, and you're amazingly happy for whatever reason, because you have reached a nirvana in your mind. You're above all this. You know what? To an outsider, you might appear to be unsuccessful, but you still are successful because you're happy in here, even when people perceived that you're coming down. To me, that's an important lesson that I would at least like to impart to you. Let me walk you through my own example of one simple story. I had this weird idea of success. Like most people out everywhere across the world, I always thought getting the next position, making the next million, making the next billion, whatever, is a measure of success. In 2003, I was in Noida, and I live in Atlanta in the US. I'm a US citizen. An Indian citizen by heart, but on paper I have a US citizenship. So I was in 2003 in India, in Noida. I walked up to the 4th floor of my building, one of our buildings, and I absent-mindedly was looking around the building. I was thinking of some power kick, some new deal, some new meeting, and then as I looked around the building, I saw slums. I saw hundreds of slums around my building at the back. And it just occurred to me as I was looking at it that I had not seen these slums. I had been coming to this building for a few years and I never saw those slums. I started crying. So one of my chief financial officers was with me and he said, "What's wrong with you? You're an Indian, you've seen slums all your life. What are you crying about?" And I said, no, I'm not crying about that I have never seen a slum. I'm crying about the fact that I've been coming here for the last 3 years and I never saw those slums. I said, how is that possible? And do I even have the ability to see? I actually am seeing what I want to see. I have just lost my ability to look at things. I'm just caught up with in my own illusionary world. My own illusionary world of power, of success, and defining success as money and materialism. And suddenly everything started falling around me. I realized everything I had built was an illusion. I realized everything I had built was an illusion. And I realized, what does success mean? Have I really been successful? And I felt, no, not really. What have I done? I've been selfish. I haven't been successful. I've been selfish. I've been thinking about myself all the time. When have I thought about the next human being? And that was the transformational change, brought a transformational change in my life. I realized I needed to be in the business of imparting happiness. I needed to be in the business of spreading happiness in the lives of the underprivileged, bringing smiles to underprivileged kids, changing their lives through education, trying to do whatever little I could do to take our country forward, to move, change, to play your own small role in removing the disparity between the underprivileged and the rich. And the Robin Raina Foundation was born, 2003. Since 2003, we started on a project. At that time, there was the Congress government in Delhi, and they were talking about the Commonwealth Games. It was the pride of the nation, according to the government, and they threw 150,000 slum dwellers from Yamuna Pushta into an area called Bhavana, on the outskirts of Delhi near Rohini. 150,000 people were dislodged. In my mind, disfranchised from your own country in a way, because we were trying to make the city beautiful for outsiders, so that we can boast to outsiders, India has arrived. And I was one of those critics. I said, what are you showing off? If I had a disabled brother, am I going to hide him? Or should I support him? And I said, what is wrong with it? Poverty is not something, it's not a disease. Poverty is, we need to accept it and do something to change it. And at that time, I started building schools, Anganwadis in the slums of Bhavana. Soon enough, I realized that I wasn't able to, that wasn't working. Because what was happening was that the slum dwellers would move out in looking for jobs. And so they would move their kids with them. And it occurred to me, if I want to really impart education and I want to provide education to these underprivileged kids, then we must start building homes for them. We must give them permanent homes. If we give them permanent homes and we link these homes to the education of every kid in their home, that's one of our conditions. We're going to build you a home on legal land. We'll buy you land, we'll give you this, we'll build you proper homes, absolutely free of cost. But our condition is your kids must go to school, especially your girl child must go to school. And you cannot sell this house for the next 7 years. So we created contracts and we started, and I conceptualized the project to build 6,000 homes. The dream was simple. The dream was, if we are able to build these 6,000 homes, there will be no slum in Bhavana. Bhavana is the second largest slum in India today after Dharavi. Let me tell you, we started on that journey in 2003. We started building these homes. We started building proper schools, vocational centers for women. You know, we did a lot of different things ranging from self-help groups to medical centers and so on. And today, we have handed over 2,304 homes. 30% of that area is not a slum. What is on papers you'll read Juggi Jhopadi Colony, JJ Colony. JJ Colony, 30% is not a slum because there are legal homes built that people are living in. And for me, that was quite a journey to be part of that. Today, the foundation has been involved with imparting education through schools all across the country. We provide free education to underprivileged kids, breakfast, lunch, meals, clothing, picnics. We work with blind kids. If you go to Delhi, near the Defense Colony flyover, you see India's largest blind school. All blind kids since 2003, underprivileged blind kids, we take them through masters, educate them in Kirori Mill, Ramjas, Delhi University and so on. And all these kids are doing really well. I will tell you that what I learned through this experience was that giving is everything in life. Being selfish, for me, success became directly proportional to giving. That's how I started thinking. I started thinking less about how much am I getting out of the system. I started thinking more about how much am I contributing to the system. I will give you a small story of what I also learned through this experience. I'm a Kashmiri Hindu. I was born in Kashmir. I was in Pakistan. I went to Pakistan and I went to Shaukat Khanum. Imran Khan, the cricketer, built a hospital in his mother's name, a cancer hospital, providing cancer treatment to underprivileged people in Pakistan and Afghanistan. He did a great job, I'll tell you, with respect to providing. We might have different political views with him, but in the area of charity, he did a great job. So I went to Shaukat Khanum, and I was thinking, I was looking at the hospital, and I was really touched by the facilities. And I walked into a ward, and I saw a 5-year-old kid lying on a bed, on a stretcher. His Afghani mom was besides him, and there was blood transfusion happening. So through an interpreter, I asked his mom, "What's wrong with your son?" And the mom said, "My son is going to die in a month's time." She already knew he's got blood cancer, he's not going to survive. And she started crying. I had immediately tears in my eyes. I was wearing sunglasses, and I had tears in my eyes, and I thought in my mind, what if I was an apostle? What if I went to this mother and said, "I'm going to save your son, but you know what? All I want you to do is convert your religion from Islam to Hinduism, maybe to Christianity." Would this mother do it? In a heartbeat, to save her son. You know why? Motherhood is a religion by itself. And I realized pain feels the same everywhere across the world. Poverty is a religion by itself. There are no boundaries to pain or to poverty. And that's where an idea was born, and I decided we're going to work with Imran Khan, and we started supporting a cancer ward in Shaukat Khanum. Till date, we support a cancer ward, Ward 224 in Shaukat Khanum. We try and support the cancer treatment of underprivileged kids in Pakistan. Over the years, I have learned many things, many lessons. I'm again going to talk about my lessons through stories so that you can identify and understand what I truly mean. And this will also take you back into my definition of success and why I gave that definition. My first story is about an accident I had in 2018. In 2018, 5 a.m. in the morning, I was in a limousine driving with 18 people in a limousine to watch Tiger Woods play at Augusta from Atlanta. My son, who's sitting here, was there with me, and there were lots of different people, and my vehicle overturned. The gentleman who was driving it, a 63-year-old white gentleman, was high on heroin. We didn't know this. 5:30 in the morning, the vehicle went into 3 flips, and it was a terrible accident, 2-hour traffic stop, and it took them 1.5 hours to take us out. We all survived, but I broke my legs. I didn't know whether I'll ever be able to walk again. 1 month from, actually 20 days from that accident, I was in India on a wheelchair. I was on a wheelchair for 1.5 years after that. And I came over to India simply, I was in the midst of making acquisitions in India, building the Ebix Cash franchise. I came to India, and as I started, Alibaba was having their philanthropy conference and invited me as a chief guest, and I gave the keynote talk there. And my topic was perspectives. And I remember what I said to them. I told them, let me tell you what perspective means in life. And this, to some extent, goes back to my definition of success. I told the audience, I said, if you had asked me 1 year back, what's my ambition in life? I would have talked about helping the underprivileged kids, bringing education to the underprivileged kid, and so on. But then the word millions or billions would have probably come into my conversation. And I said, but it has changed now. And I said, ask me what my ambition is today. I was carrying crutches, and while I was doing this talk, I was on two crutches doing this talk, and I said, ask me what my ambition now is. And I said, my ambition today is to walk. That's all I care about. The millions, the billions, the money, the power, nothing matters. I just want to walk. I took walking for granted, and I'm realizing I can't take it for granted. I may not ever be able to walk. That's what perspective is. We take things for granted, and then something new happens and it changes our perspective in a microsecond. And so, don't take your success for granted. The second story, which has remained with me through my life, I was shooting, there was an American Discovery Channel shooting a documentary, and we were sitting in the slums of Bhavana. I had a 4-year-old kid, Raghu, by my side. And they were shooting this documentary. Raghu, the kid, I knew him for some time because he was studying in our schools, an underprivileged kid studying in our Bhavana school. He had a banana in his hand. I was playing with him, and we were having fun, both him and me, and they were shooting the documentary and doing shoots, and I took his banana, and I took that banana and I hid it behind my body, and he started crying. He started bitterly crying, this 4-year-old kid, Raghu. And he was really mad at me and started crying, and I took out the banana, but I called his teacher, Archana, and I said, Archana, what is wrong with him today? He's such a happy kid. And she said, but you took that banana off his. I said, so what? I took his toys also a few minutes back, and he didn't complain. She said, no, 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 you can't touch that banana. I said, why is that? She said, every morning for breakfast, we give him 2 bananas. He eats 1 banana and he puts 1 banana in his bag. He takes it home. He gives it to his mother. He wants to make sure that his mom gets something to eat. Even when I talk about this today, I get goosebumps. I started thinking, do I have that kind of yearning like Raghu? Do I have that kind of love? Have I thought like that? And I immediately started thinking about my country. And I said, my country is my motherland, is like my mother. I left this country and went to the US, but this is my country. Maybe I need to be like a Raghu. Maybe I need to give back. Maybe I need to figure out a way to be protective about my motherland. And that lesson has till date stayed with me with regards to Raghu. Today, you're part of a defining time. As Mr. Tarun Kapoor told you, India is emerging as one of the greatest economies and superpowers in the world. We're set to be the 3rd largest economy in the world. Look how cycles have turned. We are today the largest investors in Great Britain, a country that ruled us for more than a century. Today, Indians are spread across the world, running on one side large companies like Microsoft and Google, and on the other side, governing large countries like Great Britain. And hopefully in my own lifetime, that's my dream. United States one day. That's what I'd like to see. Running large organizations like the World Bank. And on the other side, we are creating the highest number of millionaires in the world. So what can you do to contribute to this juggernaut that is unfolding in terms of the country's prowess? In my mind, 2 things you could do. 1, innovate. And try to play a role in making India the innovation hub of the world. We truly today lag behind in innovation. Look, we have to accept this. We have done an amazing job of creating various hubs, creating the great IT hub. Mr. Kapoor talked about the manufacturing hubs that they're putting emphasis on. Those are all amazing ventures. But at the end of the day, we haven't created the next Microsoft. We haven't produced the next Penicillin. We haven't produced the next iPod, the next iPhone. That needs to happen in India. Now that's starting to happen in small ways. You're seeing innovation. You're seeing a Mahindra Group launch a tractor that becomes an internationally #1. You see new Jeeps coming in and so on, but it is not happening at the level that it needs to happen in information technology. Mr. Kapoor talked about AI, of the next frontier where India can take the lead. And I absolutely agree on that front. Having said that, being innovative, Government of India, of course, will need to look at this. I've been one of the votaries of saying, if we want to promote innovation, one of the things we need to do is we need to give tax subsidies. We need to allow entrepreneurs, anybody who sets up innovation in here, we need to give them a tax break for a few years, as long as they create something that is a true intellectual property centralized in India and was the first time created in India, not something you replicated and brought here. Having said that, when I was laying the foundation of my vision in India, of setting up what I call EBIX Cash, I focused on innovation. I focused on how to be different. And for me, the idea was rather simple. I said, I'll give you a very simple example in life. Next time you fly, just think about it. If you're going to fly from Delhi to Mumbai, you can choose your flight. You don't get to choose your airport, right? You can choose whichever airline, but you don't get to choose your airport. Airport is infrastructure. Airline is a product. And my innovative idea was, I'm going to focus my efforts in creating a financial airport, an end-to-end airport, digital superhighway that will focus on everything from end to end. I don't care whether you do a travel transaction, you do a foreign exchange transaction, you bring in money, data should just move. You know, I could bore you with examples of what truly true to end means, sitting behind powering the technology of a bank, powering the technology of lending, powering the technology of asset management. You know, the money moving into India, money moving out of India, insurance transactions, travel transactions. If you look at it, it's all connected. If you had a kid, if any one of us here had a kid and who wanted to go abroad and you needed to deposit money to fund that education, all of what I talk to you, you will need. And all of that can be intrinsically in one superhighway. Data can move. So my focus became setting up an airport, and I quietly made 26 acquisitions in India. I bought 26 companies trying to assimilate that vision and interfacing that technology, continually building and creating the superhighway, and we started dominating whatever sector we entered. We chose our battles. But the battles we chose, we dominated all of those. So what I wanted to say, my idea is not to talk about my example of, my idea is to talk about innovation is key. That even if you're doing a business idea, it needs to be innovative, it needs to be different. Two, in my mind, the second thing you need to do in my mind is you need to play a role in helping your country remove the disparity between the rich and the poor. You need to support, in my mind, the education of underprivileged kids. Educate one child. If you can just take one pledge today, I will educate one underprivileged kid. You know what? You would have changed the life of that family, of that kid, of their family, of their generation, and you would have played your role in taking our country forward, because if our country has to be the next superpower, trickle-down economics is not going to work. We're not going to create manufacturing hubs and ultimately things will percolate down. They will, but it will take time. We also need a bottoms-up approach. We need a trickle-down approach, 100%, but we also need a bottoms-up approach to focus on the underprivileged and bring them up. Having said that, I will tell you, don't forget your country wherever you are. I will tell you, as I said, I am a US citizen, but here in my heart, Dil hai Hindustani. I am an absolute proud Indian. When I land up at the Delhi airport, and sometimes the American friends will say, what do you get so excited about in India? You land up at the Delhi airport and somebody will push you. I said, look, that's where it suddenly dawns on me. When somebody pushes me, I feel so much at peace. I feel so much at peace. I've arrived. This is my country. This is where I belong. I said, this is our country. I got to accept what it is. We are moving forward. We're beating the hell out of the rest of the world today on every front. But if there are other things, that's okay. We're going to change it. We are going to play a role in changing society. Lastly, I would say this to you. This is for each one of you who are passing out today. One, stay hungry. Stay humble. Hunger will help you grow. Hunger will help you grow, while humility will give you the balance to keep your feet on the ground. Two, as engineers, focus on innovation, and maybe you will create the next Google out of India. Three, Stay focused on your own happiness. Everything will flow from there. If you are happy in this small space of your head, then everything will fall in place sooner or later and you will succeed. 4, and last, be like the 4-year Raghu, the kid who cried because of the banana. Don't forget your loved ones and don't forget your own country. And don't forget, help educate an underprivileged child around you today. It will be your contribution to our motherland, India. Thank you.